Sandra Bullock is one of the most popular actresses in the United States. She's been named People Magazine's most beautiful person. She twice was named the highest paid actress in Hollywood. She's known for romantic comedies, but also action thrillers. And she's regarded as a very popular, down-to-earth, very likable actress.
It wasn't until she was around 12 that she moved back to Virginia, and she started to get more involved into acting and getting small, commercial or television roles. And then she decided she wanted to pursue it full time, and so she moved to New York.
She worked 2 or 3 different jobs, going for all sorts of auditions, the real typical Hollywood actress path, serving tables 1 minute and then hoping to be on the red carpet the next.
She gained in popularity there. She had this look that everybody wanted to cast. It was very relatable, girl next door.
Sandra Bullock got her big break in the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves, where they take over a hijacked bus and drive it around. Sounds like the silliest story ever, and it was a huge hit. She was adorable. Everybody loved her.
Though Sandra Bullock has strived to keep her personal life private, her fans have often yearned for more. In most cases, this has manifested itself as innocent curiosity, but all too often, it has gone horribly wrong.
I'd hate to call her a stalking magnet, but she has had, a few stalkers in her past.
Sandra Bullock has had at least 3 stalkers, which raises the question, what is it about Sandra Bullock that is so appealing? I'm sure Sandra Bullock would like to know why her as well.
The most common type of stalking is actually those tour vans that go through the neighborhoods, the buses without the tops on them, and the guy with the headset on telling people, Sandra Bullock lives right there, or Tom Cruise lives over there, or whatever. That's a form of stalking, but it is an innocent, accepted form of it.
In today's society, celebrities are forced to show more of themselves, to sell a product, to sell a movie, to sell a brand. And in doing so, it exposes way more information, way more detail to stalkers.
Psychiatry has got a label for it. They call it erotomania. It's the delusion of love. Usually, somebody will be attracted to somebody in some way, and they will then establish in their own mind, oh, that person feels the same way about me. And then they will look for things to confirm that belief. So maybe they will watch a film with this particular actor or actress in it, and they will believe that that actor or actress is trying to communicate something to them through that film. And it is felt to be very, very real to that individual.
The obsession is all-consuming. I think that's the fact that, there's something missing in their lives, and they just think that these celebrities are the solution.
The first time the public were aware that Sandra Bullock had a persistent stalker was 2002, and this guy, Thomas Weldon.
He had schizophrenia and not a grasp of reality. His motivation was to be with her because I think he thought he could be.
He started calling her family, calling her agents, calling her managers, started sending her facts, really just scaring her.
Stalkers feed on interaction. When that interaction or that contact is cut off or eliminated, it goes into another level. Then it becomes rejection.
He got out of the institution, and the first thing he did, he started tracking her down again across states.
In June 2010, Weldon tracked Sandra Bullock to her home in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Luckily, before he arrived on her doorstep, he decided to check himself into an emergency room.
He says he's having a lot of anxiety, he can't sleep. So he talks to a doctor who interviews him, and he says that he believes Sandra Bullock is communicating with him telepathically.
Sandra would have been very scared. This man could find her anywhere. This is a huge country, and he can drive 5 states to try to find her.
But just when her ordeal appeared to be at an end, she suffered an altogether more unnerving encounter with a second deranged stalker. This time, it was a woman. Her name was Marcia Valentine.
Marcia Valentine began stalking Sandra Bullock in 2007. Sandra was married to Jesse James. They lived in Long Beach, California. And Marcia would do these crazy things like show up at her house and take the palm fronds and arrange them in a weird shape on her lawn. And then she would also put animal hair all over her lawn. She was leaving these cult-like messages on Sandra's lawn. It's super creepy.
It might have been some kind of voodoo thing, some kind of spiritual, psychic thing. She obviously thought that putting that on her lawn would have some kind of effect in connecting her with Sandra Bullock. Maybe it was quite innocent, except it turned violent pretty quick.
Sandra Bullock and her husband at the time, Jesse James, arrived at home one day to see her lying on the ground of their home.
Jesse James, he's not gonna sit by and watch somebody threaten his wife. When he saw her, he decided to confront her.
Jesse's trying to take a picture of this. He's trying to look and get her license plate so they can report her to the police. She goes crazy and starts trying to drive over him, backing up her Mercedes, driving it forward.
Not once, twice, but I think 3 times she drove at him in her Mercedes. I'm not sure she set out to ever do that, but she reacted that way and it went in that direction.
She's chasing Jesse around in her car, trying to kill him.
This woman to try and supplant her husband in her life. This was the way that she was going to get Sandra Bullock to be with her.
This was just another example of all these crazy people that are out there trying to get her. And very unsettling. Again, where are you safe? If you're not safe in your own home with your husband, where can you be safe?
But obsession never sleeps, and a grim specter from her past was soon to haunt her once again.
911 emergency.
Right, someone has broken into my house. I'm hiding in the closet.
They're in the house now?
Yes, they are. I just saw them walk into the attic. I have
Is it a man or a woman?
I think it was a man.
What's your name, ma'am?
Sandra Bullock.
You can feel the panic in her voice. She's breathing very, very heavily because she's absolutely terrified. The adrenaline must be running through her system.
She's telling them, there's somebody in my house, please come, help me.
She was begging for the police to come as soon as possible, obviously, because this man was in her house.
This has to have been the most terrifying thing.
I hear someone banging on the door.
Is it your bedroom?
Yes.
8029 suspects now attempting to gain entry to the bedroom.
You could hear the terror in her voice. You could hear the trembling.
That trauma, that hellishness, that invasion of space, that fear for your life, what is this person going to do?
It's just an awful situation for her to be in. She doesn't know that somebody is there to assault her, kill her, burgle her.
Sandra had a young son, Louis, at the time. Luckily, he wasn't home the night this man was in her house, but her whole security was breached. Every security measure that she'd taken didn't matter.
Okay, there's an officer pulling up now. You're knocking out there.
Is that them knocking at my door?
Are you knocking on the door?
I hear them in.
They're entering, so they've got an open door, so they're coming in, okay?
I hear them, yeah. Thank you so much for being so nice. Thank you.
So they finally get in. They get inside her house. The man is yelling out for Sandra in the house, Sandy, Sandy, and they confront him on the stairs.
35 stand by, team suspect in custody. Okay, they're taking him into custody now.
Oh, they have them?
They have him. You can hang up. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
The episode doesn't end when he's arrested because the police then unpack what this man's intentions were.
He's carrying this notebook that's got a letter in there. He's got photos of her that he clipped out of magazines.
He had written down essentially a list of things that he wanted to do, and they included sexually assaulting her.
The intruder was 39-year-old Joshua James Corbett.
This was a guy that was capable of violence, had planned for violence, and had got into her house. And there could be nothing scarier than that.